UN Special Rapporteur in the Palestinian-occupied territories, Francesca Albanese, who has called the Hague Group bloc of states to break economic ties with Israel. During her visit to Colombia, she highlighted that no one is truly uninvolved in the situation in Palestine, attributing this not to ill intent from states, but to the interconnected nature of the global world. Albanese also urged members of the Hague Group to cease providing coal and other raw materials to Israel to exert influence.
And also the US is clear, not only has provided weapons, is the first arms supplier.
In Europe, the European Commission has proposed a central EU budget of 1.816 trillion euros for the 7-year period from 2028, following intense internal negotiations. This figure, expressed in 2025 prices, represents a significant increase in the European Union's spending power, pushing total spending to 1.26% of the EU's gross national income, up from the current budget's approximate 1.1%. Commission President Ursula von der Leyen's team settled on this number Wednesday, while the Commission claims the budget will effectively be 2 trillion euros by factoring in future inflation and post-COVID debt repayments. This accounting method has been criticized as misleading by lawmakers. The Office for National Statistics has reported that the UK's inflation rate has risen to 3.6% in the year to June, up from 3.4% in May, slightly dampening expectations for further cuts in the Bank of England interest rates. June's reading took the annual CPI rate to its highest since January 2024. The ONS highlighted that higher costs for motor fuel, airfares and train tickets were the biggest contributor to the rise in the inflation rate between May and June. It also added that food price inflation rose for the third month in a row to its highest annual rate since February last year. British Finance Minister Rachel Reeves has pledged to ease regulation further and announced measures to boost the finance sector, including reforming requirements for banks to separate retail and investment banking activities, and a plan to get more savers investing in stocks. She also pledged simpler regulatory approvals for smaller financial companies and confirmed an easing of access to mortgages. Reeves also admitted that there is more to do in response to the unexpected jump in the inflation rate. She noted that working people are still struggling with the cost of living.
We will always act in our country's national interest. I'm supporting the Bank of England's decision to raise the asset threshold for MREL requirements to between 25 and 40 billion pounds. This will benefit the challenger banks and bring increased competition and innovation to the market, and support those businesses to expand their footprint here in the UK. I have committed to meaningful reform of the UK's ring-fencing regime, recognising that now is the time to go further in tackling inefficiency and boosting growth, while retaining the aspects of the regime that support financial stability and protect consumer deposits. As I look ahead, it is clear that there is more that we must do. In too many areas, regulation still acts as a boot on the neck of businesses, choking off the enterprise and innovation that is the lifeblood of economic growth.
Moving on to North America, Canada is seeking to finalize a free trade deal with Southeast Asian nations as part of a push to expand into new markets, responding to the hefty tariffs imposed on it by the United States. Foreign Minister Anita Anand emphasized continuing a multilateral trade relationship with ASEAN, citing the Indo-Pacific region as the future global economic driver. She noted this agreement is key for Canada to diversify trade beyond G7 nations. Anand highlighted that beyond trade, Canada will also collaborate with ASEAN on energy, food security, digital economy, and artificial intelligence.
Let's remember, Canada's a trading nation ourselves. We are the only G7 country that has a free trade.
Canada's National Housing Agency data has shown that housing starts posted a surprise increase in June, rising 0.4% from May. The seasonally adjusted annualized rate of housing starts rose to 283,734 units from a revised 282,705 units in May. In Asia, Indonesia's central bank has cut its benchmark interest rate by 25 basis points to 5.25%, the fourth reduction since September. The decision was significantly influenced by a revised tariff deal with the United States. Under the new agreement, Indonesian exports to the U.S. will face a 19% tariff instead of the initially proposed 32%. Bank Indonesia welcomed the deal, expecting it to boost exports and support overall economic growth, even as global trade weakens and domestic demand slows. Governor Peri Warjio indicated more rate cuts could be on the table amid low inflation expectations and a stable rupiah.